Same 5 days, same flight budget, two completely different trips. And after Bali's post-pandemic tourism surge, the price gap between them has never been wider. Right now, a full day of genuinely great Bangkok street meals runs you under $10. Bali's foreigner-facing cafes will charge you that for a single plate. One of these cities hands you a dense, walkable, train-connected megacity where dinner costs $2 to $4 and the skyline never sleeps. The other hands you rice terraces, surf breaks, and a scooter you'll learn to fear. But Canggu now prices like a budget Mediterranean beach town, so the both are cheap era is over. Bangkok and Bali get pitched as interchangeable Southeast Asia stops. They are not. For a tight 5-day window, picking wrong doesn't just cost money, it costs you a whole day of your trip. Remember that number, a whole day, because by the end you'll see exactly where it disappears. So let's settle it. And by the last 60 seconds, you'll know which one is yours. That's why this comparison has quietly reset, and why an old blog post will steer you wrong. Bali's costs have climbed hard from the demand side. Canggu villa rents have jumped as remote workers and investors bid up the south, and Indonesia now layers on a 150,000 rupiah visa on arrival fee, plus a 150,000 rupiah tourist levy that didn't exist a few years ago. Bangkok went the other direction. Rents in its central districts barely moved. The bot stayed traveler-friendly. The metro network kept expanding, and the street food economy held its prices. So the two destinations no longer share one cheap Asia story. They've split into two different value stories. One is cheap because the city is efficient. The other is beautiful, but you pay for the beauty in both money and time. Keep that frame because it decides everything that follows. And stay with me to the part about getting around, because that single difference is where your whole day either survives or quietly vanishes. Now the numbers, qualified and honest. On lodging, a clean, central, well-reviewed room runs you noticeably less in Bangkok than in the Canggu Seminyak belt. Figure roughly $35 to $60 a night in Bangkok versus $60 to $100 and up in trendy Bali. Food is where Bangkok pulls away hardest. A genuinely great street meal sits around $2 to $4, while Bali's foreigner-facing cafes have crept toward $8 to $14 for the same caliber of plate. Getting around flips the script on convenience, not cost. Bangkok's trains are $1 or $2 a ride. Bali runs on scooters and ride-hail that look cheap per trip but eat your hours in traffic. Added up across 5 days and the daily spread is real money. Cost is only half the decision. The other half is what each place feels like at hour 40 of your trip. Bangkok's pull is energy and density. Everything is close, everything is open late, and the layers stack. A 500-year-old temple, then a rooftop bar 60 floors up, then a midnight noodle stall, all inside one neighborhood. You can do 3 completely different versions of the city in one day without ever needing a car. For a traveler who hates downtime and loves optionality, Bangkok is almost unfair. The downside is honest too. It's hot, it's loud, and there is no beach. If your idea of a trip is decompression, this city will not let you rest. Bali's pull is the opposite, and for the right person, it's stronger. This is nature, surf, and a wellness culture built into the day. You wake up to roosters and rice fields, surf a warm break before breakfast, and end the day watching the sun drop into the Indian Ocean from a cliff in Uluwatu. The island rewards slowness. It is genuinely beautiful in a way Bangkok simply is not. There is no skyline that competes with a Sidemen rice valley at dawn. The catch is structural. Bali is spread out, the roads are bad, and the thing that looks like a quick hop on the map is an hour on a scooter. Yes, the north, Munduk, or the east coast around Ahmed, stays cheaper and calmer, but a tight 5-day trip realistically lands you in the southern Canggu to Uluwatu corridor, where these problems are unavoidable. You trade efficiency for scenery, and in 5 days that trade has a cost. Let's talk about the single biggest practical difference, because it quietly decides your whole trip: getting around. In Bangkok, the BTS SkyTrain and MRT subway form a real network. You can plan a day across the entire city, hit 4 neighborhoods, and never sit in traffic. A ride is $1 or $2 and arrives every few minutes. That efficiency is worth a full extra day of doing things over 5 days. Bali has no train, none. You move by scooter if you're brave, by private driver if you're not, and either way you are exposed to traffic that has gotten genuinely bad in the south. The same 5 days in Bali places because the island spends your time for you. This is the receipt that quietly disqualifies Bali for a packed, see-everything kind of trip. How 5 days actually plays out in each so you can picture your own trip. Already know which city you're picking? Jump to the decision summary at 5:20. It's the last 3 minutes. Still weighing it? Stay here. In Bangkok, day 1 is the old city and the river temples. Day 2 is markets and Chinatown. Day 3 is a day trip to Ayutthaya by train. Day 4 is malls, rooftops, and massage. And day 5 is one last street food crawl before your flight. Dense, varied, and you barely repeat yourself. In Bali, the smart 5-day plan picks 2 bases, not 5. 2 nights in Ubud for jungle and culture, 3 nights in the south for beach and surf. You build in driving time, you accept that you'll see less, and you let the island set the pace. That's also where the whole day we talked about at the open either stays in your pocket or gets handed to the traffic. Same calendar, 2 completely different rhythms. Who picks which? Here's the decision tree. Find your branch. If this is your first trip to the region, if you hate wasting time, if you love food and cities and want the most per day, that's Bangkok. And for many first-timers, it isn't close. The transit alone gives you back the full day we talked about at the start. That's exactly where the whole day either survives or quietly vanishes, and now you know how to keep it. If instead you're coming to decompress, if you surf or want to learn, if you value scenery over density and you'd rather do 2 things slowly than 10 things fast, that's Bali for most scenery-first travelers, and you'll come home calmer than you left. And if you genuinely can't choose, here's the honest answer most guides won't give you. Do Bangkok first as your fast, cheap, high-energy trip, then make Bali your reward trip later with more days, so the island's slowness becomes the point instead of the problem. If you want the full day-by-day, 5-day Bangkok plan, mapped neighborhood by neighborhood, that breakdown is the next video, and I built it as the exact companion to this one. So before you go, answer me this. If you only had 5 days and 1 flight, which one is actually yours, Bangkok or Bali? Drop it in the comments because I read every single one.